Coaches, if you're not doing this with your players, then I think that you've kind of lost track of what youth sports is all about. Players, if this is not the type of coaching that you're getting, then you may not be with the right team. It took one compliment from an opposing coach this past weekend to really put it all into perspective. Welcome into my latest video here on Coach Kyle Richardson, the channel that is dedicated to getting the very best out of everybody because nobody rises to low expectations. This past weekend, we had a tournament down in the Indianapolis area for travel ball, and the weekend got off to a really solid start. Now, unfortunately, it didn't really end the way that we would have wanted to, but there was one moment during a game that brought the entire weekend into perspective and reminded me that regardless of what the results looked like, we were doing things the right way. Now, the way a lot of these travel ball tournaments work is you get 2 or 3 opening round games. Those really decide who makes it into bracket play and then the seeding that goes along with it. For this tournament, however, bracket play was open to everybody. Yes, the opening rounds would determine exactly where you would be seated, but it was really the same path for basically everybody. So for us, it was about setting up our pitching to be as successful as possible and making sure that one of our top pitchers was still available for the opening round of bracket play so we could go as far in the bracket as possible. For the third game of the opening round, we were going up against the team that was currently the #1 seed. They were already 2-0. They had only allowed 15 runs on the weekend so far, and we decided that we were going to pitch 3 of our players who we've seen some decent things from this year, but we wanted a chance for them to get some experience on the mound and see a little bit more of what they could offer heading into the offseason, so we knew what would need to work on with them. And I'll say, every single one of the guys that pitched during that game did a really good job of throwing strikes. They went out there and they battled, and they gave us an opportunity to win for the first couple of innings. We ended up giving up quite a bit of runs, but throughout the first few innings of that game, there was one thing that I repeated to these guys on a consistent basis. I'm not worried about the results. It's all about the process right now, and that is where you are doing a great job. And yes, we ended up losing the game, but during one of the innings, the first base coach walked by me and he said, "Hey coach, I just want to give you props and I want to compliment you on what you're saying to your guys right now." And I wasn't 100% sure what he was talking about. So I said, "Oh, I appreciate it, but what is it exactly that you mean?" And he said, "Well, something you said during the last inning to your guy on the mound. You essentially told him it's all about the process and not the results right now." And he said, a lot of the teams that we play these days, I don't hear guys coaching like that. I hear them harping on the results. You're not doing this and you're not doing that, or this is the score. He said, "You guys are down by quite a few right now, but we can tell that you're throwing a few pitchers that haven't really pitched a whole lot this season, and they're doing a pretty solid job. Our guys are just hitting them right now, which is not always what happens." He said, "But you could really be frustrated with everyone right now, and you could be frustrated with the score of the game, and you could have kind of given up on this game, and you could be looking forward to bracket play already, but you're not doing that. Right now, you are worried about the process for every single one of your guys and ensuring that no matter what the score is, you're helping them get better with every single pitch." And that brought the weekend into perspective for me. We won our first game. We lost our second game in a really close back and forth battle that ended up being a little bit of a heartbreaker. And in this game, unfortunately, after the first couple of innings, we knew we were probably going to lose. But again, it didn't really reflect what would have happened in bracket play. So we were trying to set ourselves up for success during the next game. But he's right. I could have been mad. I could have been frustrated. I could have been getting on these guys because they weren't hitting their spots every single time, or their breaking balls weren't nearly as sharp. But for these 3 guys, for the times that they have pitched this season, they haven't thrown a whole lot of strikes. And for one of the kids, he is much younger. He's playing up actually 1 to 2 levels than what he could be playing, but he's a very good ball player. And for all 3 of these guys, it was the same message for them every single time. Hey, this is what we are doing right. This is what you are doing correct. This is what we can build on. And this is how we are going to help you get better. And yeah, the results are not what you want right now, but it's okay because they will be at some point in time. And for now, really, let's just focus on getting the process correct. Because if we do that and work on the process even more this offseason, the results next year are going to be way better. I do believe as coaches, a lot of the times the process is kind of a forgotten segment of what we're really signing up to do with these youth athletes. Now, the very first game that we played that weekend, our number one pitcher was on the mound and everything was going great throughout the first 2 innings. And then all of the sudden, we realized that they just started hitting the crap out of him. And it was almost like they knew what was coming every single pitch. Well, ultimately, what we ended up finding out about an inning later was that one of their coaches had figured out our signs and was sitting next to home plate, kind of off to the side, relaying every single pitch that was coming out. I didn't notice it because of where I was standing, and I relay pitches out to our catcher, and then he relays them to the pitcher. From where I was standing and the angle that I had toward our catcher, I didn't quite see what he was doing. But then I heard it and I could hear him. I would call it and he would say fastball, curveball, fastball, changeup. And he was doing it every single time. And I understand that there is some gamesmanship to sports and that at some level, when you find out that a team is doing something that can help you win, you should take advantage of it. But we're talking about kids that are 12 years old. At that point, are we helping them develop? Are we helping them become better baseball players by telling them every single pitch that is coming? Or are we just focused on winning at that point? Because at 12 years old, when you play travel baseball or high level basketball or football or tennis or whatever it may end up being, yes, you want to win because that's really kind of what it comes down to when you play high level sports. You're playing those high level sports because you want to get better and you're good enough to assemble a group of players that can win championships, can win a lot of games, and can do some really good things together. But when they're only 11, 12, 13, even 14 years old, before they get to high school, these are kids that need to learn how to play the game and they need to learn how to get better. Now, do those kids feel better about themselves because they boosted the box score a little bit and now their overall season stats look better? Yeah. That team didn't end up winning though, and they probably took away an opportunity for each one of their players to get dramatically better facing a really good pitcher. And one thing I've taught my players this season is that look for different cues and different things that happen throughout the game that can give you an edge. Is the pitcher tipping his pitches in some way, shape, or form? Is there some signals that you look at and you say, oh, hey, I know exactly what that means? If you do, you can use those things to kind of decipher for yourself. But if they bring those things to me, I'm not going to sit at home plate and be like, hey, this is the pitch that's coming. Or, hey, you got to do this. I'm trying to teach these guys how to do things like that on their own. And that's what's going to make them better baseball players. And yes, there was one point during the weekend where one of my players came over to me and said, hey, coach, their coach is just relaying the signs out to the catcher by putting down 1, 2, or 3. I know exactly what's coming every single time. And I said, okay, but I'm not going to tell the hitter that because that's not going to make him a better ball player. You, however, can use that to your advantage and learn maybe a sequence and how the pitcher is actually going to throw to you when you get to the plate. And at one point, he did start calling out to our batters, fastball, watch the curve, watch the fastball. And I told him, we're not going to do that. We're not going to be that team. We are not going to go down that route. We didn't like it when a team did that to us earlier in the weekend. Just use this information to study the pitcher. Share it with your teammates. Everybody should be up on the fence watching right now. Look for the pitches called, look for how they're executing, and see if we can develop a game plan around that. Now, if I had taken advantage of that, would it have possibly given us a better chance to win one of those games? Yeah, maybe, but it definitely would not have made our players better baseball players. They would have been gaining an advantage that would not have helped their growth process going to the plate. Knowing exactly what is coming every single time is not going to make you a better player. Now, if you're finding tips and things that the pitcher is giving to you that show you what's coming, then yeah, at that point, absolutely take advantage of it. But me telling you what's coming every single time, I'm sorry, it's not going to help you reach your goals. And that's why it is process, process, process. You're going to be frustrated sometimes. The results are not going to be exactly what you want. That's okay. Does the process go well? On the way home, my son and I spent probably about 20 minutes talking about his process this weekend. And even though some of the results were not what he would have wanted, I asked him, "Did you like the process leading up to that result?" And majority of the time he was like, "Yeah, I felt I had a good process." And when he told me what his process was, I told him, "I think you've got a good process as well. It just didn't work out for you a couple of times this weekend." So I would appreciate it if you took just about 10 seconds to like the video and subscribe to my channel, because like everything we do here at Coach Kyle Richardson, we want to set the bar as high as possible because nobody rises to low expectations. I'll see you all in the next video. Have a great one.